All right, we finally got the Ftm-100 put into the truck. I wanted to add Fusion in addition to DStar, which I seem to probably still lean towards the DStar side. However, both good modes. They're a little bit different. Just want to explain a couple of different things just using this radio, the Ftm-100. Right off the bat, we'll just go a couple of features on the Ftm-100 that I do enjoy. It does have a built-in GPS. I am currently in a enclosed garage. It has already, since before I started the video, it has actually gotten a signal. It's no longer flashing. It's got an excellent quick receiving GPS receiver. Absolutely love that. Another thing I do enjoy is that on the Ftm-100, it has two different memory banks. You'll have A, like you'll see right above my thumb here if I'm not in the way. That'll be A. And then you can go through, if I hit this button on the lower left, B. Now I set it up two different ways. Now there is one receiver in the radio. However, there's two memory banks that you can set in. All of the A's, or the top typically, I set with frequencies or repeaters that do dual mode to keep it simple. So if I hit scan while it's in A, it'll only scan digital, because really I can use my top radio, the 5100, to scan all the others. You could do both at the same time. The nice part is with this radio, again on the bottom, the Ftm-100, with the built-in GPS, it also has built-in APRS. If you're in an area that you catch or can at least hit a couple of beacons, want to listen to or transmit, it's built in, super easy to set up, especially if you use software, but even manually, it's not bad at all. So you can do that. Now there is ways that you can set it in. Is dual watch, which is this button right down here, DW on the very bottom, as well as AB. That I haven't done it yet, so I can't speak super knowledgeably, but you can be monitoring on one and scanning through, but it'll flicker back on the dual watch every so often, and it'll transmit. Again, I haven't done it, so I can't confirm that, but it's supposed to be an option. The other option is, again, if you're not wanting to talk, you just want to use APRS, you just flick it on, turn on the beacon settings, and let it go away, or go on its own, I should say. Super handy. Let's go back up to A, which is here. Hit it again. Okay, so this just flipped it around. Now I'm in A. All my different A frequencies. For example, I put FSN for Fusion. Brainerd is one, and Becker will be one. So, anyways, back to the primary one. Now, under the auto mode, which you have on this radio, if you look right above my finger, I'm switching it. You can hit this button right here, or just watch above my finger. So I'm doing it with the microphone. So I've set those quick keys on there to work already. But typically I leave it like this, where it's got a line blinking over it. And then even if I'm scanning like this, okay, it's always going to be monitoring analog and digital on that memory A bank. Let's just stop it again. Now, if I kerchunk it, again, it'll send my call sign. And then we'll go to the repeater. You'll hear that we get a confirmation tone. Okay, so I know I hit the repeater at that point. You've seen just a quick flicker, hard to get a good signal strength back. But it's about 3/4 scale here anyways. If I'm talking to somebody, you would see that. Okay, so what it often does, I've noticed when it's in auto mode, is you'll see the FM, it switched back, almost like a squelch tail kind of kicked it back into FM. Not every time is it that way, but if you end up getting in a digital QSO, if they short key or whatever else, I don't notice it kicking me back to FM, only when I short key or quick transmit itself. Okay, so you can change that manually. So you've got back to where we were in the beginning. If you want to lock it in digital narrow, which is that 12.5 kilohertz for voice, 12.5 for data, you can do voice wide, which uses the full spectrum for voice, which gives a little bit better audio. It depends on your speaker, but a little bit better. I typically leave it in the auto, but otherwise the digital narrow. Now to compare that, without getting too long-winded into like the DStar, you can't really see my finger. Well, they both have GPS lock now, which is good. Anyways, on like the DStar side of things, that typically, I believe, uses like a 12.5 split, half for data and half data such as Callsign, coordinates, so on and so forth, which is kind of cool, because this one, I'm kind of talking about a couple different things at once here, but like this one, if you're using APRS, you send it to like a receive site itself. It's not always like a repeater. You're sending off a beacon, but that's only, only like what we were down in there. Okay, but now with DStar, a plus and a minus, is if you're transmitting up here to like St. Cloud DStar is a linked to the gateway and through the internet. This one sends APRS out. This sends DPRS. So this sends your digital coordinates and such from the APRS to the repeater and then uploads on aprs.fi. So they're a little bit different, but a little bit similar. They can, in the end result, is kind of cool. So I chose to do both. But anyways, so again, if we do a confirmation, so it's in digital locked now, you won't notice any difference, but it won't flicker back. Okay, so we've got that. Send my call sign anyways with that. And then we'll go on to the top one. Now, if you're comparing it to DStar, I hope I don't stir up anybody here, but we'll do the same confirmation. Very similar if you listen. Okay, little different tone, but same idea. Oops, knocked the camera here. So it went through, and I'll turn that back down. But it sends my call sign, sends the data with it. So if we looked on aprs.fi, it would show up as well here. So anyways, something to note too, dual receivers with a larger screen, larger radio, such as the Ftm-100. This is the ICOM 5100. This is all menu-driven, single receiver. Wonderful radio with the programming software and using the SD cards. So lots of features into it, still a lot to learn, but maybe it gives you a little bit of a comparison between the radios, the modes, and the abilities. 7-3.